Hi guys, it's Celina Grant, Wellbeing Consultant from See Healthy Living here. I hope everybody is well, staying safe, staying indoors where possible and where necessary. Okay, so I'm doing this video today really in response to the last few days that we've had and the events over the last few days. We've had to witness yet again another lawless murder of another black person. And it's traumatic. It's traumatic for a lot of people. It's especially traumatic for those of us that are within the black community. So it only feels right that we talk a little bit, or I talk a little bit about trauma and our trauma responses and what we can do to help that traumatic or manage that traumatic response. I think I should probably say it's taken me a few days to get to a point of recording this, mainly because I've had to, yes, I'm here as a wellbeing consultant, but I'm a human, I'm a black woman, and I live every day in an environment, in a world plagued by racism. So I've had to process, digest my own feelings and my own trauma response to this situation. On the viewing of the videos or the video that's been circulated, and on reading some of the comments and racist responses to the video that's been posted, many of us, many people will have experienced a traumatic response. So what's a traumatic response? Feelings of sadness, anxiety, confusion, numbness, exhaustion, emotional exhaustion, physical arousal, a blunted affect, and disassociation. Not to mention the obvious being anger. Now, given the experience or the witness of any traumatic event, some of the responses I've just mentioned is very much a normal response. Now, when we talk about trauma, there are primarily three different types of trauma. One is acute, so the effects of witnessing or experiencing one single traumatic incident. You have a chronic trauma, which is the experience of repeated or prolonged situation or event. If we link that to the recent events over the last few days, that could be prolonged witnessing or experiencing of repeated murders, or it could be complex trauma. And complex trauma is exposure to a varied and multiple amount of traumatic events, which are often invasive and of interpersonal nature. effects of trauma can cause intense emotion. It can include extreme emotional fluctuations, unhappiness, anxiety, as I've mentioned, loneliness, anger, and irritability. Witnessing traumatic events are stressful. They cause a lot of stress on the body, emotionally, physically, and mentally. Stress not only affects our mood, but it is linked and can bring on anxiety disorders. When we experience a traumatic event, a traumatic experience, it's important that we do a couple of things. Firstly, we need to give ourselves time and allow ourselves time to heal and to mourn the losses that we've experienced. We can't force the healing process. We have to be patient in our recovery, because we will recover. So we must demonstrate patience in our recovery. We have to be prepared for difficult and at times volatile emotions. And it's important that we allow ourselves to feel whatever we're feeling without any judgment or any guilt. So I'm going to highlight 7 tools for managing a traumatic, stressful event. The first tool I'm going to mention is window of tolerance. Okay? I'm going to discuss the use of window of tolerance. The window of tolerance concept is a way to identify and talk about your current mental state. Now, being inside your window means you're doing okay. You know, you can function effectively. But when you're outside of that window, it means you've been triggered and you're experiencing a traumatic stress response. Now, initially, you might have a small window, which means you have limited capacity to process and stabilize when presented with difficult information or reminders of traumatic events. You can easily be triggered by flashbacks, intrusive thoughts, high anxiety, emotional shutdown or numbing, panic or anxiety attacks, disassociation, and complete feelings of overwhelmingness. Now, your window can expand as you develop tools to stabilize your feelings. This increases your capacity to handle more difficult information. It increases your capacity to manage your emotions and your physical sensations. Now, handle means you can stay in the present moment. You know where you are, who you're with, what day and time it is, and you're aware of all of your 5 senses. This is coupled with being able to feel emotions and not be overwhelmed by them. You're present in the moment, you can think and you can feel at the same time. The second tip is to breathe slowly and deeply. We mustn't underestimate the power of breathing slowly and deeply. To breathe should be a free and portable tool to use anywhere and anytime. It's important that we make sure we inhale through our nose and exhale for longer than you would inhale. By doing this, you're activating the part of your nervous system that helps your body calm itself. This can help you think clearly and return to the present moment. Unfortunately for George Floyd, his ability to use that free and portable gift of breathing easily was stopped. He wasn't allowed to breathe. His right to breath was taken from him. The third tip to help manage stressful, traumatic events is to validate your experience. What do I mean by that? What you, what I, what others have experienced is real. It hurts. And what you're going through after witnessing, experiencing such a traumatic event is a normal response to trauma. It's a normal response to what should be an abnormal experience. Now, it's important to remind yourself of this as you go through some challenging symptoms, such as what I've mentioned earlier. It's important you remind yourself of this because self-validation is an important piece of healing. It's important that you don't let anybody take away your self-validation. It's important that you don't let people take away the fact that you're hurting and that what you're feeling is real and it hurts. So self-validate. It is part of your healing process. It is part of our healing process. The fourth tip I'm going to share is to focus on your 5 senses. Again, what do I mean by that? Start with 5 different things that you can see. For example, the trees or the buildings outside the window. Identify things you can hear, such as a TV or the traffic outside. Focus on things that you can sense on your skin. A collar on your neck, or the breeze on your face or your arm. Focus on the taste, such as a drink you've just drank or some food you've just eaten. Focus on your sense of smell, the state of the smell in the air outside, or perfume or aftershave on your body. Then notice 4 of each of these things. Then 3, then 2, then 1. You need to be specific about these items, as it can make you really concentrate on the external factors and get you out of your head. Being inside your head when you've experienced a traumatic event or incident can be a dangerous place temporarily. So focus on these 5 senses, paying attention to things like the shape, the scent, the texture, and the colour. The 5th tip I'm going to give is for you to think positively for 12 seconds. Given the context of recent events or any trauma, that can be quite challenging. But I challenge you to just find a focus for 12 seconds on something positive. Bring that something to mind. It could be something as simple as a positive memory, or a flower, or a holiday, or a loved one, or a smile on someone's face, a picture that you treasure. Really focus on it intently for 12 seconds. You can use a timer. You can estimate 12 seconds in your mind. I want you to breathe and notice its impact on your body and your emotions. It only takes 12 seconds for the creation of neuron connections. What is neuron connections? Neurons are cells that are the basic working unit of the brain which transmits information. These positive experiences have the ability to replace stress and fear-based thinking and coping. So it's important to avoid as much as you can traumatic imagery. Limit yourself from repetitively watching traumatic imagery. It has proven biological, psychological effects. Limit your intake of watching traumatic footage. I urge you. Tip number 6, use gravity or a weighted blanket. A symptom of trauma or traumatic stress is sleep disturbance, which does include insomnia, the ability to go to sleep. A symptom includes nightmares, flashbacks, and high anxiety, as I've mentioned before. Not getting enough of the type of sleep you need can cause you to have problems concentrating, leading to difficulties at work and or school. Rest is an important factor in positive mental health and well-being. Lack of sleep can lead to irritability, and it can negatively impact on important relationships. So tip number 7 is going to be to laugh. Given the situation or given the events, it may seem like there's nothing to laugh about. And indeed, recent events is by no means a laughing matter. In terms of trauma and trauma response, laughter really is a medicine, and it is now more commonly being used as a therapeutic method. It's proven to reduce stress by releasing not only the hormones that boost your immune system, but it can also rewire your brain. Have a go, put something funny on, something that can distract you from the trauma, and watch it when you are feeling particularly stressed and anxious. Spend time with friends, loved ones that you feel safe with and who can make you laugh. Practicing these tools is actually a good first step in managing your traumatic stress and really getting yourself on a road to recovery. Tip 1, window of tolerance. Tip 2, breathe slowly and deeply. Tip 3, validate your experience. Tip 4, focus on your 5 senses. Tip 5, think positively for 12 seconds. Tip 6, use a gravity weighted blanket. And tip 7, laugh. Laughter really is good for the soul. Guys, thank you for watching. Remember to like, share, comment, subscribe. Somebody out there may benefit from this information on this video. Stay well, stay blessed.